I never thought 3 words could change everything. But there I was, standing in the hallway of my own home, frozen in place, listening to my wife's voice drift from the kitchen. And what she said, what she actually said out loud, shattered the life I thought I was building. Once the baby comes, we don't need him anymore. I didn't move, didn't breathe, just stood there like a statue while my world cracked open beneath me. And in that moment, instead of confronting her, instead of screaming or crying or demanding answers, something cold and calculated settled into my chest. I decided right then that if she wanted to play games, I'd play too. But I'd play to win. I'm 31 years old, and I'd been married for 4 years. 4 years that I thought were good, solid, building towards something real. My wife is 29, and 6 months ago she told me she was pregnant. We'd been trying for about a year, so when she came to me with that positive test, tears in her eyes, smile on her face, I was over the moon. Finally, we were starting our family. Finally, all those conversations about baby names and nursery colors were going to become real. Everything seemed perfect. We went to prenatal appointments together. I held her hand during ultrasounds. We argued playfully about whether to paint the nursery gray or beige. I was excited, genuinely, deeply excited. First-time dad energy coursing through me, you know, that nervous, thrilling anticipation of becoming someone's father. 3 weeks ago, everything changed. I came home early from work with a splitting headache that felt like someone was hammering nails into my skull. My boss took one look at me and told me to take the afternoon off, get some rest. I walked through the front door around 2 in the afternoon, and the house was quiet. Peaceful. I was about to call out and let my wife know I was home when I heard her voice coming from the kitchen. That particular tone she uses when she's talking to her sister, casual and unguarded. I should have announced myself right then, should have walked in, but something in her tone made me pause, made me stand there in the hallway like an intruder in my own home. I know, but listen, she was saying, and I could hear the smile in her voice. Once the baby comes, we don't need him anymore. The house is in both our names. I'll get child support, probably alimony too. He makes good money. This is the smart play. I felt my blood turn to ice. Every muscle in my body locked up. I couldn't have moved if I'd wanted to. Her sister's voice was muffled through the phone speaker, but I heard my wife laugh. Actually laugh. Of course he thinks it's his, she continued, and there was this smugness in her voice that I'd never heard before. Why wouldn't he? I've been perfect. The timing worked out exactly right. He'll never question it. More muffled talking from her sister, and then my wife again. Yeah, I know, but he's so boring, and the other guy actually makes me feel alive. Once I'm set financially with the baby, I can figure out what I really want. Worst case, I'm a single mom with a nice house and his money. Best case, the other guy steps up and I get to be happy and secure. I stood in that hallway for maybe 2 full minutes, just listening. She kept talking, kept laying out her plan like she was discussing a business strategy, how easy I was to manipulate, how predictable I was, how she'd been seeing this other guy for over a year, more than a year, while I was planning our future, while I was excited about becoming a father. Then she said she had to go, and I heard her footsteps coming toward the hallway. Panic shot through me. I backed out the front door as quietly as I'd come in, eased it closed without a sound, got in my car, and just drove. Ended up in a random parking lot, hands shaking on the steering wheel, one thought playing on repeat in my head. The baby might not be mine. The baby might not be mine. I went back home at my normal time, 5:30, like nothing had happened. Walked through the door with my work bag, and she was there smiling, coming over to kiss me on the cheek. "How was your day?" she asked, and her voice was so sweet, so normal, like she hadn't just been plotting my destruction hours earlier. "Fine," I said, forcing a smile. "Busy. How are you feeling?" She showed me a new onesie she'd bought, this tiny blue and yellow striped thing, talking about how cute it would look on the baby. I nodded, smiled, played along. That night I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling while she snored softly beside me, her hand resting on her belly. 6 months pregnant with a baby that might not be mine, planning to divorce me the moment she had everything legally secured. And I was supposed to just lie there and let it happen. The next morning, I called a lawyer, not to file for divorce, not yet. I needed information first, needed to understand what I was dealing with. The lawyer explained paternity testing, told me I could request it after the baby was born. Told me to start documenting everything, to be careful, to protect my assets quietly. "If she's planning what you think she's planning," he said, his voice calm and professional, "let her think she's winning. Gather evidence, be smart." So that's what I did. For 3 weeks, I've been smart. I've been the perfect husband. Excited about the baby, going to every appointment, rubbing her feet when they're swollen, assembling baby furniture, the whole performance. But I also did something else, something she would never expect. Turns out you can do prenatal paternity testing now. It's non-invasive, completely safe for the baby. They just need the mother's blood and the potential father's DNA. Costs about $1,500, but what's $1,500 compared to 18 years of child support for a kid that isn't yours? I told my wife I wanted to surprise her with a private 3D ultrasound at this boutique place I'd heard about. Made it sound romantic, special, just for us. She loved the idea, thought it was the sweetest thing. The ultrasound place was actually a paternity testing clinic 3 towns over, where nobody would recognize us. I'd already sent them my DNA sample days before. They took her blood while pretending to do the ultrasound, gave us some basic pictures to maintain the story, and told me results would be back in 2 weeks. I got the results yesterday, sat in my car in the clinic parking lot, hands trembling as I opened the envelope. 0% probability of paternity. The baby is not mine. I stared at those words, at the charts and graphs and scientific language that all said the same thing. Not yours, never was. I sat there feeling nothing at first, just this vast emptiness. Then everything hit at once. Rage and betrayal and grief, and this sick relief that I'd found out before it was too late. Then nothing again, just cold calculation. I drove home, walked through the door, and we had a normal dinner, normal evening. She talked about how all our friends were doing gender reveal parties now, how we should do one too, how fun it would be. And that's when the idea hit me. That's when I knew exactly how this was going to end. "You know what?" I said, looking right at her. "You're right. Let's do it. Let's do it big. Invite everyone." Her face lit up like I'd just given her the best gift in the world. "Really? You'd want that?" "Yeah," I said, smiling. "Our families, all our friends, everyone. Let's celebrate." She hugged me, squeezed me tight. "You're the best. I love you so much." I hugged her back, breathed in the scent of her shampoo. "I love you too," I said. And it was the last lie I'd ever tell her. Because I don't love her anymore. But she doesn't know that yet. The party is this Saturday. I've rented a venue, sent out invitations to her entire family. My family, all our friends. About 80 people total. I've got the gender reveal smoke cannons ordered, blue ones, because the clinic told me it's a boy that isn't mine. I've also got a projector set up and a very special PowerPoint presentation ready to go. Right after the blue smoke clears and everyone's cheering and congratulating us, that projector is going to light up, and it's going to display the paternity test results, every single page in high definition. Her whole family is going to see it. Her parents who think I'm going to be their son-in-law forever. Her siblings who've welcomed me into the family. Her aunts and uncles and cousins. Everyone. My family will see it too, and they'll understand. Then I'm going to announce that I've filed for divorce. The papers are ready, waiting to be served Monday morning. Is this petty? Maybe. Is it over the top? Probably. Do I care? Not even a little bit. She wanted a party. She wanted to celebrate. Well, she's getting one. Just not the celebration she expected. The party was Saturday. It's Tuesday now, and I'm still processing everything that happened. Still replaying it in my head like a movie I can't stop watching. Let me back up. Friday night, the night before the party, my wife was so excited she could barely sleep. She kept talking about who was coming, what people would wear, how perfect everything would be. She'd created this whole fantasy in her head, this picture-perfect moment that she'd probably been planning to post all over social media. I nodded along, confirmed details about the venue and the caterer and the photographer she'd insisted we hired to capture every moment. Saturday morning, we got to the venue early to set up. She directed everything like a wedding planner on opening night, adjusting decorations, checking the catering table, making sure the photographer knew which angles to shoot from. The decorations were neutral, yellows and greens and whites, since we were supposedly keeping the gender a secret. The smoke cannons were positioned perfectly in the middle of the outdoor space, and I'd set up the projector myself, positioned it carefully, told everyone it was for a special video montage after the reveal. Nobody questioned it. Why would they? Guests started arriving around 2 in the afternoon. Her parents came first, her mom already crying happy tears, her dad shaking my hand and calling me son. Her 3 siblings arrived with their families, kids running around excited to find out if they were getting a boy cousin or a girl cousin. Her best friends from college showed up in matching outfits they'd coordinated. My parents came, my mom hugging me tight, whispering how proud she was. My brother arrived, clapping me on the back. Friends from work, neighbors, people I'd known for years. Everyone was excited, genuinely happy for us. People kept coming up to me, patting my shoulder, making jokes about diapers and sleepless nights, saying how they couldn't wait to meet my son or daughter. My wife was glowing, literally glowing in that way pregnant women do, working the room like a celebrity, accepting congratulations, rubbing her belly, playing the perfect mother-to-be. I watched her from across the venue, studied her face, tried to find any hint of guilt or nervousness. Nothing. She was completely comfortable in her lie, completely at ease with the fraud she was committing. It was almost impressive in a sick way. Around 3 o'clock, we gathered everyone outside for the reveal. Must have been 75 people standing there in a semicircle, phones out, ready to capture the moment. Her dad made a speech about becoming a grandfather, about how he'd always known I'd make a great father. My mom was crying again, happy tears streaming down her face. My wife and I stood in front of the smoke cannons, holding hands. She squeezed my hand and looked at me with those eyes that used to make me feel like the luckiest man alive. "Ready, Daddy?" she whispered. "Absolutely," I said. We counted down together, the whole crowd joining in. 3, 2, 1. Blue smoke exploded everywhere, massive clouds of it billowing up into the afternoon sky. Everyone erupted in cheers. "It's a boy!" people were shouting. Women rushing forward to hug my wife, men shaking my hand, kids jumping up and down. My wife started crying, happy tears, or what looked like happy tears. She hugged her mom, hugged her sister, accepted congratulations like she'd just won an award. I walked over to the projector, powered it on. The screen behind us flickered to life, bright white against the afternoon sun. "Hey, everyone," I called out, my voice cutting through the celebration. The crowd started to quiet down, turning toward me. Before we cut the cake, I have one more surprise. My wife looked over, confused but still smiling, still riding the high of the moment. "What surprise?" she asked, laughing a little. "Just a little something I put together," I said, and I clicked to the first slide. The screen filled with text, big, bold, impossible to miss. Paternity test results. Probability of paternity 0%. The crowd went silent. Completely, utterly silent. You could have heard a pin drop on grass. My wife's face drained of all color, went from glowing and happy to ghostly pale in about 2 seconds. "What is that?" she whispered, but in the silence, everyone heard her. "What is that?" "DNA results," I said calmly, like I was discussing the weather. "Turns out I'm not the father." Her mother gasped, this awful choking sound. Her father said, "What the hell is this?" His voice was loud, angry, confused. I clicked to the next slide. The full scientific breakdown appeared. Charts and graphs and technical medical terminology. The kind of document you can't fake. The kind of proof that's undeniable. "This is a prenatal paternity test," I explained, my voice steady. "Non-invasive, completely safe for the baby. I took it 3 weeks ago, results came back last Thursday, 0% chance that baby is mine." My wife grabbed my arm, her fingers digging in so hard it hurt. "This is a mistake," she said, her voice rising into panic. "This has to be a mistake." "It's not," I replied. "The clinic confirmed it twice, 0% chance." Her sister pushed through the crowd, her face red with anger. "You're lying," she spat at me. "You're making this up to humiliate her." I clicked to the next slide. An affidavit from the testing facility appeared, signed and notarized, official and legal and completely real. Then the next slide. Screenshots of text messages, recovered from our phone bill, between her and a number I'd tracked down to the other guy. Nothing explicit enough to prove the affair, in the texts themselves, but enough to show constant communication. Hundreds of messages over months and months. "Want to explain who this is?" I asked my wife, turning to look at her. "The number you've been texting 15 times a day for the past year." She was full-on panicking now, her breathing rapid, her eyes wild. "I can explain," she stammered. "Please, not here, not like this." "Not like this," I repeated, and I felt something cold settle over me. I looked at the crowd, at her family, staring at her in horror, at my family looking shell-shocked. "You were planning to let me raise another man's child. You were going to divorce me once the baby came and take half my house and child support for a kid that isn't even mine. But I'm the bad guy for doing this publicly?" Her father stepped forward, his face a mixture of confusion and rage. "Is this true?" he demanded, looking at his daughter. My wife opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again, started crying, these ugly, desperate sobs. Her mother was crying too, staring at her daughter like she was seeing a stranger. "How could you?" her mom whispered. "How could you do this?" "I didn't mean to," my wife choked out. "I didn't think—" "You didn't think I'd find out?" I finished for her. "Yeah, I figured that was the plan." Her sister tried to save it, tried to spin it somehow. "Even if the test is right, this is cruel. She's pregnant. You can't just—" "Can't just what?" I interrupted. "Expose the truth. She's been lying for 6 months, planning to destroy my life, but I'm the cruel one?" My brother stepped up next to me then, solid and supportive. My dad, too, both of them flanking me. The party dissolved into absolute chaos. Half the guests started leaving immediately, awkwardly gathering their things, not knowing what to say or where to look. My wife's family surrounded her, some trying to comfort her, others demanding answers, voices rising in argument. I walked over to my lawyer, who'd been standing in the back the whole time, watching everything unfold. He handed me a folder. "What's that?" my wife asked, her voice shaking, her eyes fixed on the folder like it was a bomb. "Divorce papers," I said, "being filed Monday morning. You'll be served by Tuesday." "You can't," she whispered. "We can work this out, please." "Work what out?" I asked. "You're pregnant with another man's baby. You've been cheating for over a year. You were planning to commit paternity fraud. What exactly is there to work out?" Her dad grabbed my arm, his grip tight. "Son, maybe we should all calm down and—" "I'm not your son," I said, pulling my arm free. "And I've been calm for 3 weeks while I planned this. I'm done being calm." I left, just turned around, walked through the crowd, got in my car, and drove away. Drove to a hotel I'd already booked, a quiet place where nobody would find me. My phone started exploding before I even got out of the parking lot. Texts, calls, voicemails pouring in so fast the notifications couldn't keep up. I turned it off, just powered it down completely and sat in the hotel room in silence. Sunday morning, I turned my phone back on. 89 missed calls. Over 200 text messages. Most from her, begging, pleading, saying it was all a mistake, saying we could do counseling, saying the baby might still be mine even though she knows the test is conclusive, saying she'd do anything to fix this. Some from her family, her mom apologizing, saying she didn't know, saying she was sorry for everything. Her dad threatening legal action, though for what I have no idea. Her sister calling me every name in the book, saying I was cruel and heartless and vindictive. Some from my family. Supportive messages checking if I was okay. My brother offering to let me stay with him. My mom asking if I needed anything. A few from friends, some supportive, some asking what the hell happened, some clearly believing whatever story my wife was spinning to them. I responded only to my family. Ignored everyone else. Monday morning, the divorce papers were filed. My lawyer called to tell me they tried to serve her at the house, but she wasn't there. They finally tracked her down at her parents' place, and apparently she broke down completely when she saw the papers. She's been calling me non-stop since then. I haven't answered, not once. Her lawyer called my lawyer yesterday. Apparently, she wants to negotiate the divorce terms. Wants the house, wants spousal support, wants me to pay for her medical expenses through the pregnancy. My lawyer actually laughed when he told me. She committed paternity fraud, he said. We have documentation she gets nothing. But here's the thing, and this is the part that makes me want to put my fist through a wall. The state we live in has these weird, outdated laws about paternity. Because we're married, I'm legally presumed to be the father unless I challenge it in court, which I'm obviously doing. But until the baby is actually born, and I can do a post-birth paternity test to confirm the prenatal one, I'm technically on the hook. My lawyer says the prenatal test is solid, that any reasonable judge will accept it, but courts prefer post-birth confirmation for legal purposes, so I have to wait another 3 months. 3 more months of this nightmare. Then the baby will be born, I'll immediately demand a court-ordered paternity test, and I'll get my name removed from the birth certificate permanently. Meanwhile, my wife is living with her parents. I'm in the house, my house, the one I bought before I ever met her. I changed the locks the day after the party. Lawyer said I could since it's marital property and I'm not denying her access to her belongings. Just her ability to come and go without supervision. She showed up yesterday with her sister, demanding to get her things. I called my lawyer, and he sent someone to supervise. I watched her pack up her clothes, her toiletries, some personal items, crying the whole time. "Why are you doing this?" she kept asking between sobs. I didn't answer, just stood there and let her pack. When she finished, when she was standing at the door with boxes in her arms, she turned to me one last time. "I really did love you, you know," she said. "No," I replied, looking right at her. "You loved what I could provide. There's a difference." She's gone now. The house feels empty, but also lighter somehow, like a weight has been lifted. The nursery I was setting up is still half finished, frozen in time. I haven't touched it. Can't bring myself to yet. People keep asking if I feel bad about the public reveal, if I regret humiliating her in front of everyone. Honestly? No, she was going to humiliate me privately, let me raise another man's child while she planned her exit strategy, let me be the fool who never knew. I just humiliated her publicly instead. Fair trade. 2 weeks later, things escalated in ways I should have predicted, but somehow didn't. First, her family went absolutely nuclear. Her dad showed up at my house last Tuesday, pounding on the door, trying to force his way in when I opened it. Started yelling about how I destroyed his daughter's life, how I was going to hell for what I did to a pregnant woman. How dare I humiliate his family? I didn't argue, just called the cops. They showed up within 10 minutes, took statements from both of us, told him to leave and not come back. He did, but not before standing on my lawn and promising that this wasn't over, that he'd make sure I paid for what I'd done. Then her mom started a phone campaign, called my parents, my brother, even tracked down my boss's office number somehow. Spun this whole story about how I'd abandoned my pregnant wife over a misunderstanding about a paternity test, how I'd publicly shamed her for no reason, how I was refusing to even talk about it. My boss called me into his office, looking uncomfortable. "Want to explain what's going on?" he asked. I showed him everything. The divorce filing, the paternity test results, the timeline of her affair. He read through it all, sighed deeply, and said, "Take whatever time you need. This is clearly a mess." Her sister took a different approach, more insidious. Started posting vague things on social media. Some people show their true colors when things get hard. Abandoning a pregnant woman is unforgivable. Family means standing by each other no matter what. Never named me directly, didn't have to. Everyone in our social circle knew exactly who she was talking about. I didn't respond, didn't engage. My lawyer said not to, that anything I said could be twisted and used against me. But then she made a mistake. Posted something that was just specific enough to cross the line. Imagine humiliating someone at what should be the happiest moment of their life because you couldn't handle the truth. A mutual friend commented, "What truth?" And she responded, "That biology doesn't matter as much as love and commitment." Another friend chimed in, "Wait, are you saying the baby isn't his?" She deleted the whole thread within an hour, but screenshots exist. Screenshots live forever. My lawyer has them all now, added to the file. Meanwhile, my wife tried a completely different tactic. She showed up at my work parking lot Wednesday afternoon. Just appeared by my car, waiting, like she had every right to ambush me there. "We need to talk," she said when I walked up. "No, we don't," I replied, unlocking my car. "Talk to my lawyer." "Please," she begged, stepping closer. "Just 5 minutes." Against my better judgment, against everything screaming at me to just leave, I gave her 3 minutes. "I made a mistake," she started immediately. "I was scared and confused, and I made bad choices. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. We can—" "Stop," I interrupted. "Just listen," she pleaded. "No," I said firmly. "You weren't confused. You were calculated. I heard you on the phone. You planned this whole thing. You were using me." I know how it sounded, but how it sounded. I cut her off. "I have the paternity test results. 0%. The baby isn't mine. That's not how it sounded. That's how it is. Maybe the test was wrong, she tried desperately. It wasn't. We could do another one, she pushed. To prove what? I asked. That you're still a liar? We're done. She grabbed my arm, her fingers tight on my jacket. I'm pregnant. I'm scared. I don't know what I'm going to do. Figure it out, I said, pulling away. You and the actual father. Figure it out together. He won't, she whispered. And for the first time I heard real fear in her voice. He's not. It's complicated. Not my problem, I said. I got in my car, started the engine. She stood there crying, mascara running down her face, one hand on her belly. I drove away and didn't look back. Got a call from her lawyer the next day. They're challenging the divorce, claiming I haven't met the grounds for fault-based divorce, that I'm being unnecessarily cruel, that she deserves spousal support regardless of the paternity situation. My lawyer filed a counter-motion that same day. Included the paternity test results, the phone records showing a year-long pattern of communication with the other guy, and a request for her to cover her own legal fees due to the fraudulent nature of her pregnancy claim. He also filed a motion to prevent her from putting my name on the birth certificate when the baby is born. Apparently, courts can do that if there's clear evidence the husband isn't the father. That hearing is scheduled for next month. But here's where it gets really interesting, where the whole thing takes another turn. Remember the other guy, the actual father? My wife apparently went to him after everything blew up. Went to him desperate, told him about the baby, begged him to step up and be involved, and he denied it. Flat out denied it, said the baby could be anyone's, said he wasn't taking responsibility without proof, basically abandoned her the same way she'd planned to use me. So, she tried to come crawling back with this new story about how maybe the test was wrong, maybe there was a lab mix-up, maybe she was confused about the timeline of everything. My lawyer sent her lawyer a very clear, very direct message. The prenatal test will be confirmed with a post-birth test. If she tries to put my name on the birth certificate, we'll challenge it immediately in court. If she tries to claim child support from me, we'll establish paternity through legal channels and prove it's not mine. She has absolutely zero leverage here. Her lawyer apparently advised her to stop all contact with me. She hasn't called in 4 days, which is the longest stretch of silence since this whole thing started. But her family, they're relentless in a way that's almost impressive. Her sister posted a long rant yesterday, this whole manifesto about men who abandon pregnant women, about how paternity tests are destroying families, about trusting your partner through hard times. The comment section was absolutely brutal. People who'd been at the gender reveal party, people who'd heard the full story, all chiming in with the actual facts. She cheated for a year. The baby literally isn't his. He has proof. Maybe she shouldn't have committed fraud. She deleted the entire post within 2 hours, but the damage was done. Screenshots had already spread everywhere. My wife's mom called my mom again, tried the grandmother-to-grandmother approach, tried to appeal to some sense of family loyalty. "How can you let your son treat my daughter this way?" she apparently asked. My mom, who is normally the sweetest, most diplomatic person alive, said, "Your daughter tried to trap my son with another man's baby. He's treating her exactly how she deserves." I heard about this secondhand from my dad, who said he'd never been more proud of my mom. Haven't heard from that side of the family since. The house is quiet now. Eerily quiet sometimes. I've started packing up the nursery, boxing up the baby stuff I'd bought in those excited early months when I thought I was going to be a father. Don't know what to do with it all yet. Might donate it to a charity, might just throw it away. Some nights are harder than others. Not because I miss her, because I'm processing what almost happened. I almost raised another man's child. I almost let her take half my house and a huge chunk of my income for a lie. I almost spent the next 18 years paying child support for a kid that isn't mine, being tied to a woman who viewed me as nothing more than a paycheck and a safety net. The rage comes in waves sometimes, usually late at night when I can't sleep, but mostly I'm just tired, just exhausted from it all. The divorce proceedings continue grinding forward. My lawyer says with the evidence we have, it should be straightforward. She'll get nothing beyond her personal belongings, no house, no alimony, nothing. 3 more months until the baby is born. Then the final paternity test. Then my name officially removed from any and all documents. Then, finally, this nightmare will actually be over. People keep asking if I regret the gender reveal party revelation, if I wish I'd handled it differently. The answer is still no. She played games with my life, with my future, with my trust. She lost. That's all there is to it. 3 months crawled by like years, but the baby was born 2 weeks ago, a boy, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. I know these details because the court-ordered paternity test was administered the day after birth. Hospital staff taking samples while she was still in recovery. The results came back yesterday. 0% probability of paternity. Confirmed, official, legally binding. My lawyer filed the paperwork immediately. My name will never appear on that birth certificate. I have no legal obligation, no financial responsibility, no connection whatsoever to that child. The divorce was finalized last week. She got nothing, exactly like my lawyer promised. No house, no alimony, no assets beyond what she'd brought into the marriage 4 years ago. The prenup that my lawyer had insisted on, the one she'd complained was unromantic but eventually signed. Held up perfectly in court. I kept the house, my retirement accounts, my car, everything I'd worked for. She's still living with her parents. The actual father finally stepped up after she threatened him with a paternity suit, apparently deciding that financial responsibility was better than a legal battle. I heard through mutual friends that they're trying to make it work for the baby's sake. Good luck with that. I give it 6 months tops. Her family stopped contacting me about a month ago. I think they finally accepted reality, finally understood that no amount of pressure or manipulation was going to change the facts. I heard through those same mutual friends that she tells people we grew apart, that the divorce was mutual, vague statements about incompatibility and different life paths. Doesn't mention the affair, doesn't mention the paternity fraud. Doesn't mention being exposed at a gender reveal party in front of 80 people. Just rewrites history to make herself look better. Fine by me. I don't need to tell the story anymore. The people who matter know the truth. My life has returned to mostly normal, whatever normal means now. Work is good, actually better than before because I'm not constantly distracted by relationship drama. My family has been incredibly supportive, calling regularly, inviting me over for dinners, making sure I'm not isolating myself. I've been seeing a therapist to process everything, which has helped more than I expected. We talk about trust, about recognizing manipulation, about rebuilding after betrayal. It's slow work, but it's working. The house still feels empty sometimes. I walk through rooms that used to have her presence, her things, her voice, and now there's just silence. I repainted the nursery last month, turned it into a home office. New desk, new furniture, new purpose. It felt good to erase that particular reminder, to reclaim that space for something that's actually mine. I went on a date last month, actually. Nice woman I met through a friend of my brother's. It was fine, nothing spectacular. But it was good to remember that I can still have normal conversations with normal people. That not every woman is hiding some massive deception. I'm not ready for anything serious yet, probably won't be for a while, but it was a positive step. Some nights I still get angry. lie in bed and think about what she tried to do, how close it came to working, how my entire life would have been different if I hadn't come home early that random Tuesday afternoon. If I hadn't stood in that hallway and heard her plotting with her sister. One moment of bad timing on her part saved me from decades of consequences. But mostly, I'm just relieved it's over. Relieved that the truth came out when it did, that I have my life back, that I'm free. A couple of legal things worth mentioning for anyone following this whole mess. She tried to get spousal support 3 separate times through her lawyer. Denied every single time. The fraud was too clear, too documented, too deliberate. She tried to claim emotional distress damages from the gender reveal party, actually filed paperwork saying I'd caused her psychological harm. The judge literally said, and I have this in the court transcript, "You committed paternity fraud and you're claiming emotional distress?" Denied immediately. Her legal fees are her problem. Mine were substantial. Over $20,000 when everything was said and done, but worth absolutely every penny. The actual father is on the birth certificate now. He's legally responsible, paying child support according to the state formula. They're not together anymore, apparently. Lasted about 6 weeks after the baby was born before they broke up. Shocking, right? Turns out, a relationship built on cheating and manipulation doesn't suddenly become healthy just because there's a baby involved. My ex-wife's social media has been quiet. No more victim posting, no more vague accusations. I think her family or her lawyer or someone finally told her to stop, that she was only making things worse for herself. I saw her once, about 3 weeks ago at a grocery store. She was in the produce section with the baby and one of those carrier things strapped to her chest. She looked tired, stressed, older somehow. Our eyes met for a second across the vegetables, and she quickly turned and walked down another aisle. I finished my shopping and left. Felt absolutely nothing. No anger, no sadness, no lingering attachment. And that's how I know I'm actually healing. She's just a stranger now. Someone I used to know. Someone who tried to destroy my life and failed. People still ask sometimes if I think the gender reveal party was too much, if I regret the public humiliation. And look, I'll be honest, I probably could have handled it differently. Could have filed for divorce quietly, let the truth come out gradually through legal proceedings, handled it all behind closed doors. That would have been the mature thing to do, the dignified approach. But she wasn't planning to be mature or dignified. She was planning to trap me, use me, and discard me when it was convenient. So, no, I don't regret it. She wanted a party to celebrate. She got one she'll never forget, and neither will anyone else who was there. As for me, I'm moving forward. Actually selling the house. Too many memories, too much baggage attached to it now. I found a nice condo downtown, modern place with big windows and a view of the city. Fresh start, new space, new chapter. I'm 32 now, divorced, no kids, starting over, but I'm starting over on my terms, with my assets intact, with my future entirely my own. And that's worth everything. To everyone who followed this story through all the updates, who sent supportive messages and encouragement, thank you. The "you did the right thing" comments helped more than you probably know, especially in those dark moments when I questioned everything. Final thought, and I mean this. Trust your gut. If something feels wrong, investigate. Don't ignore red flags. Don't let love or hope or optimism make you blind to reality. I almost learned that lesson the hardest way possible. Almost paid for willful ignorance with 18 years of my life. Now I'm free. Free to find someone who actually deserves trust. Someone who wouldn't even think about doing what my ex-wife did. She's out there somewhere, and I've got time to find her. As for my ex-wife, she made her choices. She's living with the consequences now, and that's exactly how it should be.